Hey everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be covering this EDC pouch. Now, before we get into this EDC pouch, I'm going to do a quick run through of what my EDC looks like on a daily basis. I'm not going to go in depth in any of this stuff just because that's not what this video is about, but to kind of understand the applicability and why this is such a game changer for me, we'll start there. So if it's your first time here, my name's Sean and I make a lot of videos around gear, camping, truck stuff. And this EDC pouch thing, the way I got into it was because I've been building out my truck EDC. I'll probably have a video out pretty soon on that because I'm almost done with it. But that's how I got into this whole pouch thing, is I've got them in my truck organized, and they do create a really good organization structure for me to be able to access specific gear in specific areas. It just really cleans things up. But a problem that I run into is I essentially have 3 different EDC loadouts, and it's because I've got so many different things that I do in my life, and they're not all applicable. First off, I'm a business owner and I run a vending machine business. I'm working on machines all the time, and so the gear that I take to work is going to be different than the gear that I take when I'm hanging out with my kids or going on a date night with my wife. And so I kind of briefly want to talk about those different loadouts. Now, every day when I go to work, I've got my keys. I like to use these carabiners because I just have so many stinking keys that I don't want them in my pocket. I like them hanging off like a belt loop or something like that. I carry one of these Leatherman Skeletools every single day in my pocket. It's got an okay blade. If you take a look at mine, you'll see that the blade actually was chipped because me, just being how I am, tried using it as a pry bar without having the proper tool with me. Pretty sure I'm going to be ordering a pry bar because I've done this one too many times. So it's got a pretty flimsy blade, but as far as like opening boxes all day long, opening packages, which is what I use this for the most part for, it's perfect. Now the other features that are really handy for me, obviously working on machinery, just having a set of pliers on me 24/7 is just a must-have for just the kind of work that I'm doing. And then having a Phillips head screwdriver is an absolute must. Just, you never know when you're gonna have to quickly access a part of a machine or whatnot, and so just having a screwdriver always with me at the ready is a game changer. Now, a couple things that this also has, on the back you can see it's got a belt loop, bottle opener, carabiner, all that kind of stuff. And then it also comes with an additional bit. This one I actually lost. I do have a spare, but there is a flathead bit that you can swap out the bits to just pull this little tab right here. So, see if it focuses. So you can swap out those bits. So this is a great multi-tool, and I would say it is small enough to be used as like an everyday carry knife. It can replace a knife, but it's a little bit more bulky than I would like just on like a daily basis to carry. Like, I'd much rather just carry a knife if I'm not always needing a tool. And that will kind of bring us to part of this little EDC pouch thing that we'll get to briefly, but that is the work, that is kind of like the work EDC setup. I try to keep it pretty basic, and we'll get to this in a little bit, which kind of completes that. Just typical dad mode. I like to carry a knife. It's something that I need frequently, Amazon packages, whatnot. I always have to have a knife on me. I just, all the time. This is something that I need, and so this Kershaw Link is my go-to for everyday life. It's solid, it's strong, it's a much better blade than what we were looking at just a second ago with the Leatherman Skeletool. I think it looks great. I'm obsessed with OD green, and so the styling, the feel, the size, everything, it's just a solid a solid knife. And so out of all the knives I've ever owned, this is probably my favorite. Now, when I'm going like on a date night or dressing up or something like that, where we're just, maybe I'm wearing uncomfortable pants that I don't typically wear, like going to a wedding or something like this, I like to carry a really small blade. In most of these situations, yeah, you're probably not going to need a blade, but this is the Benchmade North Fork, and it's just a nice, small, sleek. I love the styling. I like the wood grain on it. I think it's a great looking knife, and I've actually had this thing for a super long time. Great blade, pretty cool. Absolutely love it. And then, you know, another carabiner, everyday life keys, try to keep it simple, house, car, camping bin, lock, pretty simple. Wallet, this is kind of like one of those Amazon mock-ups of the Ridge, I believe it is. The Ridge I actually owned originally, and it is actually a much better wallet. This is what I get for ordering an Amazon knockoff, but if you look closely, you can see some dings and dents, and it just hasn't fared well. Something that's consistent with my gear is I use it hard. I mean, take my kids camping all the time. I'm working on my truck all the time. At work, I'm working with machinery and equipment, and so my stuff has to be made well or it's just not gonna last. This is one of those things where probably my knife was bumping up against it in my pocket and it just, you know, just didn't fare well. It's cool because as you can see, I've got a ton of cards stored in here. I do keep a little bit of cash in the back, and then one of these, I always keep one of these on me, these lens wipes, just to kind of clean up the phone screen if I need to, or my sunglasses. It's just so handy always having one of those things on me. And then phone case, I've really always been a fan of these Urban Armor Gear phone cases. Now this one's probably my favorite one that I've ever had. This is the Civilian. And I will link all this stuff, you guys, in the video description if anybody's interested in it. The material on this, though, it's getting back to how I use stuff. This thing feels great, but the styling just did not last because the plastic on this thing just shows scratches so easy. I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera, but man, this thing got scuffed and scratched up just like within days. It's still probably my favorite case that I've ever owned for the phone. When we're going camping, I love to bring the phone out, take lots of videos and stuff, and so it protects the phone really well. That's kind of why I've kept it. I just wish that it wouldn't show the scratches so easily. So, getting to this EDC pouch. Now, the reason why I wanted to kind of make this video and start making some of these EDC videos is I don't think I've done the greatest job at setting up my EDC. Now, I kind of ran through stuff that I carry with me given the situation on a daily basis, but one thing I haven't really done well is set it up to compartmentalize all that stuff. Like I'm definitely somebody that's very into gear, but I haven't always been super organized about it. And when I was building out my truck EDC, I'm like, dude, I just need to do this for like my everyday life. And so I got one of these pouches. I've got one of these in my truck right now, but I actually kind of doubled up the setup to kind of make this like an everyday carry pouch for myself. And the reason why I did that is because some of the stuff I'm going to show you right now, I used to just carry with me all the time, and it was just too much. Now, just recently, I kind of split up the stuff that I was carrying. Like I said, I've kind of carried this knife, the Kershaw Link, on and off for years. I've kind of carried this on and off for years, but just over the last couple months, I've designated these things like, all right, this is the knife that I take when I go out with my wife. This is the knife that I carry every single day. And when I'm at work, I'm gonna carry the skeletal, right? Before that, I was just carrying the Skeletal, and I was carrying pretty much all this other stuff on my person all the time. And so I kind of want to show you what I've got in this thing. First off, this is made by Excellent Elite Spanker. Now, the only reason I chose this pouch is because I'm obsessed with Multicam Black. I think it's a great looking pouch. I had bought one of these for the truck to store some other gear in it, and I just really liked it. I thought it was a good size to kind of give myself a personal loadout. So inside it, actually I should start on the outside. So on the outside, it's got this little flap. Now, being that I'm working on machines at work, I have to have a headlamp because sometimes a flashlight just will not do it. And when I go camping, I need a headlamp, and instead of having these things all over the place, I can have a good solid headlamp that I trust and rely on with me wherever I go. And so that just lives right there in that front little pouch. Now on the front, you also have some of this Molle material, and on the back you've got the button straps, which are great for Molle panels, and then you've got the webbing to kind of fit it correctly. Got a little drawstring for the zipper. Very cool. All right, let's pop inside this thing. All right, right here, this is the Olight S2R Baton 2. Now this light I've been using for a very long time. What I love about this light is it is super bright, but specifically it's got this magnetic backing, which is just phenomenal for somebody who's working on metal equipment, working on vehicles. This thing is so great. There's been so many times where I've popped this thing to the top of the hood of my truck and just been able to illuminate the whole engine bay. Also has a charger. Okay, so in this little zipper pouch here, I also have a charger for this light, USB charger, magnetic, good to go. And so wherever I go, I've got the light, I've got a charger for the light, and I'm good to go. Now, once again, as I said earlier, I was carrying this with me on my person every single day, and it just was kind of like, I just had too much stuff on me, and I didn't like it. I wanted the stuff with me, but I realized I didn't have to have it on me. And so that thing lives right there. Now, in addition to the flashlight and the charger, I also have a little USB charger for that headlamp I showed you a second ago. So this is a little micro USB charger that will charge up that headlamp. Now in the center here, I also have a USB-C charger, which will be a spare charging cable for my phone, and I'll have that with me wherever I go. All right, now on the other side of this pouch, this is what we've got. So right here, I've got my second Leatherman Skeletal. Yes, I've got two. And actually, fun fact, I've actually owned 5 of these over the year. Mostly because I lose them. I've lost 3 of them at work just because maybe I've set them down somewhere and I forgot in it. But I'm always using this stinking thing. And so yes, I've lost 3 of them. Now this one does not have a broken blade because I have not tried to use it as a pry bar. And this one's still in great shape. It's got both bits on it still, and so it's got the flathead and the Phillips. I actually usually leave this one with the flathead in place because I use it to adjust like my cameras and stuff like that. And so this is definitely more of the one that I keep on my person. But I keep that one right here in this pouch, and then right next to it, this is that same knife that I showed you earlier, the Kershaw Link, but just whatever knife I am not carrying for the day will be in here. And so I'll have a backup knife with me wherever I go. And then behind them in this little pouch right here, I normally carry an Apple Watch charger. I actually had one break recently, and so that one has come out, and that's actually in my work van right now, so I'll have to order a new one. But that is how I have that set up. Now let me talk a little bit about the applicability of this. So obviously the reason why is because this is all stuff that I want to have on me every single day, but I don't always want to be carrying it with me in my pockets. And so this thing just kind of comes home, I throw it on my computer desk, and I bring it with me when I leave. And so when I'm at work, I've got the flashlights and the headlamps that I need to use. If I'm going somewhere, maybe we take my wife's vehicle. My wife's vehicle isn't all decked out and doesn't have a truck EDC. And so I have things that I may need if, I don't know, we need a pair of pliers or a screwdriver for something, or a flashlight or a headlamp, stuff like that. And so I've got stuff that I always want to have with me, and I can just leave under my seat in her car while we're at a barbecue or while we're at her parents' house or something like that. If I need the stuff, it's there. I also just, when I go and take my truck, even though I have some things that can get the job done already set up in my truck, I know where this is. It's easy to get to. If I just need one of these tools quick and easy, it's there. And then obviously in my work vehicle, specifically the lights are what are there. And if I ever need a spare charger for my Apple Watch or my iPhone, they're in there all the time. And so this is something that I can take out and put in a hotel room or whatnot. And so overall, this thing has worked out really well for me. I bought all this stuff myself. None of the stuff in this video is sponsored, all purchased by me. I will link everything that I can in the video description, and those will be affiliate links. So if you guys do end up purchasing any of this kind of stuff, it will help out me, it will help out the channel. However, I was not asked to make this video. Nothing I talked about today is sponsored. And I just like this stuff. I think it's freaking cool. So if you guys would like to see a little bit more of gear like this on the channel, let me know. I do have a truck EDC video that will be coming out hopefully in the next couple weeks. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you in the next video.